Trump pays tribute to great friend Hulk Hogan after wrestling icon's death at 71. President Donald Trump paid heartfelt tribute to Hulk Hogan on Thursday after the legendary wrestling icon passed away at the age of 71. In a statement shared on Truth Social, Trump described Hogan as a great friend and a powerful symbol of American strength and resilience, calling him the Hulkster. Trump praised Hogan's commitment to the MAGA movement, calling him strong, tough, and smart, yet possessing an enormous heart. Trump recalled Hogan's unforgettable appearance at the Republican National Convention, saying the speech he delivered there was one of the most electric and memorable moments of the entire week. Trump emphasized the profound cultural impact Hogan had not only in the world of professional wrestling, but in American pop culture as a whole. He described Hogan as a performer who entertained millions across the globe, leaving behind a legacy of unforgettable moments inside and outside the ring. Trump also offered his condolences to Hogan's wife, Sky, and the rest of his family, assuring them of his warmest wishes and love. The president's message ended with a firm statement that Hogan will be greatly missed by all who knew him or were touched by his larger-than-life presence. Hogan's death was reported to have occurred Thursday morning at his home in Clearwater, Florida. The wrestling legend, whose real name was Terry Gene Bollea, died of cardiac arrest, a sudden and tragic end to a life that had captivated fans for over 4 decades. His passing sparked a flood of tributes from across the entertainment and political spheres, but none as deeply personal and passionate as that of Trump, who had long held a close association with the wrestling world and Hogan himself. Last July, Hogan made headlines when he appeared at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, just days after Trump narrowly survived an assassination attempt. In an unforgettable moment, Hogan took to the stage, tore off his iconic shirt to reveal a Trump Vance tank top underneath, and delivered an impassioned speech that fired up the crowd and reminded many why he was one of wrestling's most beloved figures. His voice booming and his energy undiminished, Hogan addressed the attempt on Trump's life, referring to him as his hero and proclaiming that the attack had gone too far. "What happened last week when they took a shot at my hero and they tried to kill the next president of the United States? Enough was enough." Hogan roared, his voice filled with emotion and rage. In true Hogan fashion, he launched into a passionate monologue filled with classic wrestling bravado and political fire. "I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother. Let Trumpomania rule again. Let Trumpomania make America great again." His words electrified the crowd, invoking memories of his wrestling promos from the 1980s and 1990s, but this time with a political twist. Hogan's performance at the RNC wasn't just theater. It was a symbolic show of unity and resolve in a time of chaos and uncertainty. Born the son of a Georgia construction worker, Hogan rose to fame through sheer determination, charisma, and unmatched showmanship. From body-slamming giants in the ring to delivering bone-crushing leg drops to his opponents, Hogan became the face of professional wrestling during its most explosive era. But beyond the ring, he was also a fiercely patriotic figure who often spoke of his love for America and his support for what he saw as the country's core values. In the lead-up to the November 5th presidential election, Hogan became one of Trump's most visible celebrity supporters. He took the stage at various rallies, including a controversial appearance in October at Madison Square Garden in New York. Known for its liberal leanings, Manhattan was not the typical venue for Trump rallies, but Hogan's arrival there turned heads. Wearing a hot pink bandana and his trademark yellow sunglasses, Hogan towered over the podium as he addressed the crowd with the same energy he used to bring to WrestleMania. "Usually when I'm in Madison Square Garden, I'm body-slamming giants, I'm winning world heavyweight titles, and I'm cracking people over the head with chairs," Hogan told the crowd, flexing his massive biceps and evoking cheers from the audience. He continued, offering a pointed rebuke to the media and political establishment's narrative. "I don't see no stinking Nazis in here. I don't see no stinking domestic terrorists in here. The only thing I see here are a bunch of hardworking men and women that are real Americans, brother." The speech instantly went viral, both celebrated by Trump supporters and criticized by his opponents. Still, Hogan remained unapologetic, using his platform to speak on issues that mattered to him and staying true to his identity. Never one to shy away from controversy. Hogan even turned his attention to then Vice President Kamala Harris, whom he mocked during the same rally. In a moment that drew both laughter and criticism, he said that listening to Harris speak sounded like a bad Hollywood script, delivered by an even worse actress. While the comment attracted backlash, Hogan's fans argued it was simply part of his brash, over-the-top persona, something that had made him famous in the first place. Hogan's connection to Trump didn't come out of nowhere. The two had a history going back decades, with Trump having appeared at WWE events and maintained close ties to the company. Hogan himself had long-standing relationships with people in the Trump circle, most notably Linda McMahon, the former WWE executive who served as Trump's small business administrator. Linda and her husband Vince McMahon had been the driving forces behind WWE's rise in the 1980s and 1990s, and it was during this era that Hogan became a household name. The McMahons' ties to both Trump and Hogan only further cemented the cultural triangle that linked wrestling, entertainment, and politics in the United States. Over the years, Hogan's public image had its ups and downs. He dealt with personal controversies, legal battles, and media scrutiny, but his influence in American pop culture never fully waned. He was still, to many, the ultimate symbol of old-school wrestling, unfiltered, powerful, and larger than life. And for Trump, he was more than just a celebrity supporter. He was a friend, an ally, and someone whose words and actions helped energize the conservative base. Now, with Hogan gone, there's a sense that an era has come to an end. His signature catchphrases, his legendary matches, and his unmistakable voice shouting, "What you gonna do, brother?" are etched into the memories of millions. Trump's tribute reminded everyone just how influential Hogan had been, not only in wrestling, but in politics and culture. Even as the world mourns his passing, the debates surrounding Hogan's political leanings and controversial remarks are likely to continue. Yet, amid all the conversation, what remains clear is that Hogan left a mark that few others have. His charisma, his passion, and his belief in American values, whether loved or hated, made him impossible to ignore. To those who admired him, he was more than just a wrestler. He was a warrior, a patriot, and an icon. As fans remember the man who once body-slammed Andre the Giant and shook arenas with his presence, they'll also remember the man who stood beside Donald Trump in moments of political turbulence, lending his voice and energy to a movement he believed in. Hogan's life was never ordinary, and neither was his death. And as Trump said in his tribute, Hulk Hogan will indeed be greatly missed, lending his voice and energy to a movement he believed in. Hogan's life was never ordinary, and neither was his death. And as Trump said in his tribute, Hulk Hogan will indeed be greatly missed,